Hello and welcome to the WriteCome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to this podcast episode from WriteCome.com. Now, I got an interesting question asked the other day of me. Somebody asked me, what would happen if you weren't allowed to go on social media? How would that affect your business, and what would you do? Well, first of all, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. The hate part is basically I hate the way they manipulate people and the way they kind of, almost like one of those clickbait sites, to kind of lure you in with an interesting article. And then before you know it, you've gone down a rabbit hole, you're following all different people, reading articles all over the place. And before you know it, half of the day is gone and you've got nothing done. So social media is purposely set up to get you on their website, Facebook or Twitter, whatever, but it's purposely set up to get you on that site and then to make sure that you don't leave it. So, whether they are giving you true articles or not, they are going to give you content that is probably going to play on your emotions, probably anger you, probably get your curiosity up, or maybe just give you articles that you agree with. So, for example, if you are a big Trump fan or a big Biden fan, you'll probably find all the content will be kind of tailored in your direction. It's not going to give you an independent point of view. It's going to give you what they think you want to see. Now, if you've seen the documentary over on Netflix, The Social Media Dilemma, that is a really, really great documentary to watch. It shows you actually behind the scenes how your emotions and everything are being manipulated to keep you on in the site. Now, so that is the kind of negative side of social media. And I do find when I do go on to Facebook, I do probably maybe read one or two articles and then I just quickly jump out because I don't want to get in. And again, to even places like YouTube and all those as well too, they are all kind of tailored to keep you on the platforms as long as possible. So I have a kind of hate relationship with social media in that way. But I also have a love relationship in that you can build a little bit of a community. You can reach out to people who you probably would never ever have a chance to come in contact with because they all have a Facebook page, or they're simply like a DM away, or they're a tweet away, or they're an email away. So it's very easy to reach out to people and, build a little bit of community and, get your content in front of an audience. If you were somebody who was around before social media actually took off, you may have been one of those people who hung out in forums. You might have been, answering questions in that to kind of build a little bit of traffic to your site or whatever, or to get people back on your email list. Or, maybe in the past too, you maybe had done some guest posts on popular blogs as well to just to drive free traffic back to your website. So social media has probably taken that away from forums and away from blogs, in that, you can post all that content over there and get in front of your audience. But again, too, even on those sites, it is kind of severely limiting how far your articles will actually go. You have to kind of pay to play now. And those that can afford it, are probably as well staying away from social media and going back to old school kind of promotions with kind of guest posts and, forums and things like that, where they can actually get in front of a free audience. Now, so as I said, I have a kind of love-hate relationship between social media. So if social media was taken off me, firstly, I probably wouldn't be too disappointed in that I would probably have a lot of the negativity out of my life, but it would probably make me more productive in that because I don't have to create content for my social media pages or whatever, it would probably give me a lot of free time to actually start working on my own products, my own articles, podcasts just like this here, and, maybe more of my daily emails, writing more of those if I had more time. And unfortunately, a lot of people who are on social media at the time are kind of building up, Mark Zuckerberg's website, the Twitter website, and all the other kind of social media platforms, Instagram and everything else, platforms that they don't actually control, and they are putting out their best content over there. And unfortunately, it would probably be better off if they would actually start, working on their own content first and then giving the kind of small portion at the end of the day over to Facebook. But unfortunately, a lot of people do it in reverse. They spend most of their time on those platforms, and then when it comes to actually creating a product of their own, they maybe only give 10% to doing that, but they've given 90% or so over to social media. So if I was taken off social media and wasn't allowed to use it, I would probably have a lot more free time in that I could create a lot more more products, a lot more articles. And again, too, if you do find that you are creating a lot of content for social media sites, one of the best things I would recommend doing is to back it up maybe to Dropbox, or if you have a Google Drive or whatever, send a copy of all that content over there and build up a huge, folder of images or maybe blog posts or whatever. So if it ever happens that maybe Mark Zuckerberg pulls the plug on your Facebook page or your group or whatever, or you lose your following on Instagram or whatever, you have that content already backed up. So it's very easy for you just to take that folder and then, open up a WordPress blog or something like that, and then just post all the information on that site. So that is it's a platform that you control by having all that content back up. So I recommend, if you are creating content for social media, have a Dropbox, or a Google Drive or whatever, and make an extra copy of that. It'll only take a couple of seconds to do that, but it means in the long run you have a backup of your business if you ever need to pull it out, if social media pull the plug out from you. So again, what would I do if social media turned off the traffic and everything today? Well, I would probably spend more time doing this podcast here. I'd probably reach out maybe to other podcasters, maybe to see if I could do interviews to try and get in front of their audience. And I would probably spend a lot more time probably doing things like, as I said earlier, guest posts on blogs, trying to get on blogs that have a lot of traffic, that are probably already writing to my audience, and see if I could get my foot in the door there, see if I could get them maybe to allow me to write a couple of guest posts, or if I had some spare cash, if it was possible maybe to buy an ad slot on one of their blogs, again, driving traffic back to your website. So even though, social media does give you an audience, there are those audiences all over the web outside social media. So, for example, if I was maybe had a product maybe on, that was maybe going to teach a child how to do something, maybe how to get better at their handwriting or how to be a better reader or something like that, well, then I would look up who outside social media has platforms like that, who kind of writes parenting blogs, who has parenting podcasts. Is there any way I could maybe, if I can't write or get on their sites, is there any way I can buy some advertisements on it? Or again, in forums, a lot of people still hang out in forums. They are popular places to go still, even though a lot of people are on social media. You will find huge forums outside social media that you can kind of dip in, build a little bit of an audience there, build a little bit of following, show your expertise, and again, kind of siphon away some of the traffic that is in those areas, and then get them back on maybe your email list, or and then maybe advertise your product to them or whatever. So, as I said, if somebody did switch off the plug and I was taken off social media, it wouldn't really kill me in the long run, because, as I said, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I would probably spend more time outside, on the old school places that are probably more reliable. If the forum has been there, this past 10 or 15 years, there is a good chance it's probably going to be there in the next 10 or 15 years or even longer, because, there is a community there. So that's what I would recommend doing. So again, if you are on social media, be aware that, at any time the rug could be pulled out from under you. If you are creating content, take a few seconds every day just to back up your content, or even just take it straight over to your own platform, your own blog or whatever, and put your daily Facebook post up there, and again to your images, your memes or whatever else, so that you never know how that might show up later on in the weeks and months and years ahead. You wouldn't know if maybe one of those posts could show up in a Google search. You wouldn't know if some of your memes or your images could show up again in a Google search, in a Google image search or something like that. Or you never know who could be watching you that isn't aware of you being on social media, and who could actually find you outside social media. Again, not everybody is in social media. It's very easy for to throw around numbers saying, there's a certain amount of million or billion or whatever on Facebook or Instagram, but how many of those accounts are really, really active? I'd say in the majority of cases, if we use the kind of 80-20 rule, I assume probably 80% of the accounts out there are probably just lying dormant, and maybe somebody is just using maybe Facebook just for kind of the messaging service in the background, but not actually posting content to it. So I'd probably say maybe that the top only 20% of Facebook accounts are actually active and are actually being worked on daily. And even at that, you could probably break down that 20% into another 80 to 20, in that probably 20% of the 20% are people who are showing up regularly, who are probably putting out good content, and who do have a thriving kind of community. So, as I said, a lot of people, even though it seems like the whole world is on Facebook, a lot of people still have a lot of businesses offline and outside those areas. So maybe you should kind of reach out to those, or build a little bit of following, again, doing blog posts, buying advertisements on blogs or forums or whatever to try and drive some traffic back to your website. So I hope that's helped the person who asked me that question. I hope I've covered it well. And again, too, if you'd like to ask me a question for any future podcast episode, just send an email to barryjmcdonald@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to know more about me or the Writecom site, if you head over to Writecom, WRITECOME.com, you'll find the site over there. And at the moment, we have a great free report which is called Words to Wealth. And in it, I'm going to show you how anyone can create money from their keyboard from home. So if that's something you'd like to try out, head over to Writecom. And as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Now, and if you like this episode, if you'd like to maybe share it on social media, if you do hang out on those platforms, it'd be much, much appreciated. Or if you have somebody who is a podcast fan, if you could let them know about the podcast here, it'd be really, really appreciated. So as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Writecom.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.